Hi, this is Peggy from the Pearl Forest, and today of our hashtag Play Your Hand Challenge for August 2024. This is day 12, and we're using business cards and buttons. And here's our day 12 calendar card. Okay, so I started off with some business cards, which I have backed with some newsprint. You can still see some of the stuff that was on there. If you don't want to be able to read personal information, I've just used a Sharpie. You could do whatever you would like to blank it out. And then, or use something not as transparent as the newsprint. But I think it's fine to have your writing surface with a little bit of stuff showing through. Okay, and then I have went ahead and put some basic paper on the back. This one had this black on here, and so I added this torn edge. This one I did in the origami brick. This is a painted paper I made. This one has some map on it. This one had this border on the business cards, and so I chose a couple papers that I thought went with that. This one with a straight edge and this with a torn edge. So they can go this way or they can go that way. Maybe we'll do one of each. So there's the 5 cards we're making today. Then I have my buttons, which I have used my 5/8 inch punch, circle punch, and I've just found some, I have some square ones too, but I've put like a book page and another one, and I've sandwiched them between some cardstock so that they're sturdy enough like a button, but they're not as thick as a real button, which is why I'm going to use these. Then I took these ones. Maybe we'll just dump them out so we can rummage through them. So I do have some square buttons. These are from a bingo card game, and I've used my little paper punch to punch holes like a button. Some of them have 4 holes, some have 2 at an angle or straight. These are all red because that's the bingo cards, but I could put them on upside down as well, and then they would be that color, and you could put some other paper on. Now these have book page on one side and then sort of a picture design on the other, so we can, you know, look through them to see what we would like to have. If you want it to really blend, you could do blue buttons. We could do like a shirt collar and some buttons down a shirt, or some other pattern. What would look nice? I think the map might be nice just with some writing. That's a nice one on the back though. Some of it even have some letters. Just depends on what was in the picture. We could do one with all different colors of buttons. And you could use real, regular, you know, real buttons that you would have on clothing or something. But I just thought it would be nice to do the ones that were thinner, and so when you have them in your journal, they're not sticking out enough that they're going to hang up on something. You could have one that's two colors. We have this one with these writings. Maybe this would be nice on that one. And this one even has big letters. That might be fun. What would we like on the pink? I also thought these dots went with the buttons. So if you put a magazine on, you might end up with some similar colors that you could use for something. You could even stick them out to the sides or kind of jog them a little bit. These don't show a lot, but if we distress the edges, let's see how that looks. This is Vintage Photo, still with my brush applicator. I do have some other colors handy here, but I don't have all my applicators. This vintage look on the button, whoops. We've lost our covering here. Well, this is going to be interesting to try to line up my buttonholes. I can see that that one's lined up, but I don't know about the others. At least I think it was lined up. Put the needle through, and oh, the holes are still lined up. I end up with glue on my needle. Okay, so that shows it more. Hopefully none of the other ones come apart. Making these buttons is something that you could easily do sitting around watching TV or listening to a story on Audible, or even chatting sometimes with people. And if you ahead of time, so the glue is dry, you'd take some cardstock with or without printed on the other side. This one's a little loose on the back too. And then put book page writing or another magazine or book page picture on the opposite side, and then let them dry really well. After they dry really well, then you can use your hole punch. You don't want them to get too thick or your hole punch will not punch them out well. Well, we could do, even though there's circles, we could do a square. What about a square with a circle? And this is a pretty one too. What have we got that would go with the red? Well, we could do a blue. Let's see. Maybe this more solid blue. So like a double button. So let's put these aside. And you give these a little distressing. It does make them stand out and kind of gives them a little bit of a three-dimensional shape that you might not have otherwise. Now you could sew these all the way through your business card, but what I'm going to do is faux sew them. I'm going to sew or sew the thread through the button and make it a seam or a bow or just a tie, and then glue the button on. That makes the back surface not interrupted with thread when you're going to try to write. And we can just let the buttons be the star here, or we can add some other things too. I brought over some pictures of some little other focal images or something that we might try. Okay, so get these done. If you hear water in the pipes, I do have them right near my art room, so we may hear them. If somebody is upstairs using the shower upstairs or something. Right now the dog is getting a shower. Okay, I don't know if it's going to show up on these, but I could at least make the edges not white. Maybe these would be nice all the way over to one edge with something else coming up. Okay, later we'll do the edges of the business cards, but right now we'll go with that. We have this border here that looks, I guess it's not a border, I thought it was, sometimes they're like this, but that one is not, so we don't want that one. We do have some little flowers that we could use. We do have this piece with some little flower as well that could be somewhere in there. Cassette tape, lemon, a teapot. Don't know that really goes. Some teacups, star. I'm not sure if we're gonna really want much else because I think the button should just be the part that stands out. That color-wise, though, kind of looks nice. I like that better than this even. Let's see. We have this vase that could go up that side. Here's a little cluster in my box. Here's a punched out tree. Might be nice. There's some more buttons in here. Little piece of black. They could be under buttons too, put some little paper under them. Here's a little sticker border edge. Let's see what we can do with that stuff. Oh, I also got out some lace trim from a shirt or flower trim. I think it might overpower this though, so I think we'll choose not to use it. I do have some orange and white thread with a needle to sew the buttons, and I have black and white and my sewing scissors, which I do not want to use to cut these out. So let's cut this. It's a sticker, but it's going to have a big white edge, so I'm not going to want that. So I'm going to trim it down. Maybe, and before I trim it, just kind of go around the edge and distress it. Not very much of this would be left, but that gives it a little bit of an edge. Done before I actually cut it out. A lot of these stickers have big, wide, white edges. And if you don't want that, you know, feel perfectly free to just trim off a bunch of that. Okay, I think that this would look nice on there. And see, this edge that we removed is that much that would have been on the sticker. Throw that away. So I'm not going to use the blue one. I might use the pink one. Blue one back. We'll distress this one a little bit and cut it out as well. And I haven't peeled it off its backing yet, so I can just lay it down there. This one has a little more of a fragile cut, but I'm just not necessarily get real close. Okay. Give it its suggestive shape, but not right up to the color. I think this will look nice on the brick one. And you can turn these the other direction as well. I think though I probably am going to keep them this way. I think I'm not going to use that. So maybe we're using tree on this one. Give it a distressing. I hope you're having a good day. This is filmed a little bit ahead. I like to have them a lot more ahead, but sometimes that doesn't work. We've recently taken in a cat that we're adjusting, or it's adjusting, we're adjusting. We're all adjusting to each other. Did not get a lot of sleep last night because of that, but it's a very sweet cat. So hopefully it will settle in soon. So I just sort of cut that out. There's this little butterfly, but I think it's kind of getting lost. I'm just gonna set it aside. Oops, in case I want to add it. But I think that would be nice on there. And the tree on the map. And what if we put this right down the center, and then that it wouldn't have the white. I think we'll try that. Okay, so let's sew some buttons. We do white on the pink one. I've threaded some ahead of time. Let's put the flower down here in the corner. Okay, just thought of this. What if we do the buttons on a diagonal? That might be fun. So let's see if we go from the top, leave enough maybe to tie a bow. Hold on to that one. Come up tight. Go down. So it's going across and come up again. Or maybe instead of a bow, we'll just tie a knot. Hopefully. Don't have a lot of fingernails right now. Okay. Knot. Oops. Hopefully a large portion of this is not me tying knots. Okay, so we'll just leave a little tail out here so we can see that it's sewn. And then do the same to the other two. And we'll see if we want to do something different. Whoops, on other ones. You just stop, Peggy, before you go all the way through. Leave enough to tie. Okay. Oops. Don't need to catch our corner, or our circle punch, I mean. If you have some good ideas for us of ways to use the buttons, I think it would be fun if they dangled a little bit. Or I remember I was gonna use them like a closure like I did on another one. On one of the origami cards, I think. Where you use it to hold a flap closed. But I think we won't on this one, but perhaps we'll be using our extra supplies down the road for another day's challenge, and we'll do some buttons in that way. I think these are kind of fun, like you just cut them off of something so you've got threads showing. Kind of like fabric that you've harvested maybe from a piece of clothing. Harvested some of the buttons, maybe a little bit of the fabric. And made them into something. We are going to do a challenge day with fabric. Maybe that would be a good day to put on some more of these buttons as well. Okay, so we knotted that one. That's a pretty side too. Not the one that we're using for right now. Okay, I think we'll mass make these, so we'll glue them on all at the same time. Which other one would be good with red? I mean, I'm sorry, white. Maybe this one. see, if we glue the cups on, we could sew this one through the card so it's not glued onto the card, but instead it's hanging on the card. You can try that. Let's see. If we put this one about there, poke some holes. And we have, take that one off for a minute. So we have these holes coming up from the back. If we want to tie our knot again, we'll want to come from the front. So we'll go through this button, into this button, and then into this hole. And maybe we'll leave enough for a bow on this one. So we'll go through here, through the card, hang on to our tail, find the other side of this button, and the other side of our little round button. And do I want to just do a bow? I think I kind of want to go back through to make it sturdier. So go across and sew back of this hole, and see or not, this side of the square button and this side of the round button. Keep a hold of that one. Okay, so we could have that on there tight, but maybe not tight. So they can wiggle a little bit. I think we should tie a knot, oops, and then a bow so that they won't be coming off. Kind of a looser knot. End of the way here. Okay. Now a bow. Almost at it. Got a loop, loop, and loop. Okay, now we need to take our bow and make it a little smaller, so we'll pull its tails in a little bit. And a little bit more, and then we'll tighten it up by pulling the ears again. There we go. And now we're going to trim off this one. And we'll have a little bow. Oops. A little bow on there. And then these will move a little bit if we want them to. So we have that one. Let's try a black thread. Okay, we have this. Oh, they're not glued. Let's glue them on so they're not running away. one there. Get them in a line. I'm going to get the two farthest ones. And then I'll do the one in the middle. And if you go across where the thread is, you'll secure the thread. Okay, so there's that one. And this one, I think, whoops, put that there's sticking to my finger. Let's put our sticker on. Put a little extra glue. Oh, it does have white on the edge. Do I like that okay? I kind of think I would rather it didn't. So I think I'm just going to trim it off. Actually, that side was punched to just come off. Okay, so if we put it mostly down here, but a little bit up in the green, I mean the black. Okay, pin in my glue, use my finger to guide it into the hole. All right, so let's put some black thread in these. Let's see, we'll go through the front like we did to the other one. They seem to have a knot. We'll just cut that part off. Brush out of the way. Okay, enough down to tie a knot. Come back up this other hole. A lot of things in the way of our thread. That's what I've learned with hand sewing. The less obstacles in the way, the better. Because the thread always finds a way to wrap itself around it. Okay, and we'll tie this knot. Just needle through this. Well, if we don't drop it, we'll run our needle through the loop. This thread is tangly. Seems like it's already formed a knot, but I didn't do it twice, so I'm going to go again. Through the loop. There we go. This one is tied on. Oops. Put that one in the middle. Now do this one. Go down one. Leave a tiny length of tag, whatever works for you to hang on to it. Some people can tie with a lot less than other people, so you'll have to make that call. Down so we have a thread going across. Now if we had 4 holes, which I think I might have punched some with 4 holes, at least this one, we could make an X in there. Maybe we'll use that one in the future on another project and show how to tie that on. I think that maybe this orange and white thread that I put out as an option might really be too thick. Oops. Too thick for this project and these buttons, so I don't think I will use it for this. maybe if I was sewing it, okay, that didn't work. What did I just do wrong? I made a loop without the other side, I guess. Now we just go back through here and do our loop. And we'll use this side to make a loop. We can knot down there. These are my Tim Holtz little scissors. They work nice with thread. I do like them for that. Can you think of some ideas of how we might use these business cards for journal cards? See what journals they might be good in. The map one would be nice in a travel, or thinking about people in certain area. This seems to be the west coast of the United States, but you could use any map. That just happened to be what I had handy. How did I do that again, where I went across? Tricky. I think if I go in here, I can get back out. Okay. It could be an outdoor adventure, travel, just somebody who likes outdoorsy things, just for a journal, or you like a lot of maps and things. Can work for that. This one, just if these colors are something that suit you. Let's see. So if we put, this one, this button, like I said, go across the thread that seals it on there. So we could put it way up near the top. Yeah, I was gonna say the thread going that way is kind of nice. It's kind of how the writing goes, but I'll just make it go at an angle because this one has to go across unless we turn those letters sideways. That's something to consider when you're punching your holes, if it makes a difference to you. Okay, this one is like this. And then we could put this one in the middle. So these two had 3 buttons. The one had 2 different buttons. And then this one will have 4. This has a sticker, that had a sticker. This has a punch, tree punch. Let's see. Which side? I think I kind of like the other side because it color-wise goes with the map more. Although this side looked like it had a trunk when I punched it out. So I'm going to put this down here. And we could do it without thread and just glue them on. That would be an option. If we put the butterfly on also, whether that would be too much. These do sew pretty quickly. I think tying the knot is the more labor intense thing. So we hold the little short one, wrap this into a loop, still holding the short one, then go through the loop. How do I end up with this over here and that not in my loop? What if we just poke it into our loop? And tighten it up. Maybe it just slipped out. Am I on the right side? I think so. Okay, tighten that. Trim its little strings shorter. Would the butterfly be too much to have the buttons go across? I think I would leave it like this and add some kind of word when I know which journal it's going in and what kind of word I would like. Where's the hole? Sometimes you have to go back through the other side to find your hole. Yeah, this is the distressed side we want up. So we come back up here. So we just made a line across the back. Go back down our first one to make a thread across the front. Come back up our second one again, and then we tie our thread. Sorry if the thread tying part takes up a lot of the time. I guess if you're sewing buttons, it does take some time. Hopefully this is an idea that you can use. It's got some extra long, maybe a little too long on the threads. If you don't have business cards, although you can get them most anywhere from businesses, these are 2 inches by 3.5. So you could just cut some sales flyer that came in the mail, or cardstock, product packaging, whatever you have that you could cut to that size, and then you make one side where you could write on it for the journal and the other side decorative. So make our loop, go through with our needle, tie it tight, make another loop. Hopefully you can see that going through with the needle, and then tie that tight. Why are we over here? Somehow it wanders over there sometimes, even though I have gone through with this. Well, I'm just gonna let it knot, and I'll trim that off and try again. There we go. And trim off the knot and trim off this. Now we could glue these 3 buttons on. And a little bit on the thread. Makes it more secure. We can put our writing up, right side up. could make your threads lie down by gluing them in a certain way if you want. Mine are just kind of doing their own thing at the moment. There's that one, and our third one. Okay. Remember, you can use regular buttons on clothing, but these will be thinner. Okay, so let's put the sticker on first to make sure we can get our buttons where we want them to be and that the sticker will fit. I really kind of like this brick origami paper. If you didn't see yesterday's video, I did the origami, and I used some of this brick paper. It's from Daiso, which is kind of known as the Japanese dollar store, even though it's not exactly a Daiso. I mean, not exactly a dollar. It is a Daiso. Okay, so the vase kind of sitting on that brick. I think I would like it better if I can get that back up and trim my vase a little flatter. Oops, there goes my buttons. So it looks a little more like it's sitting on the brick. Okay, I think I'm gonna stick with the black thread. I think white could be on this, but I'm gonna go with the black. So this one we have 4 buttons. How do we want them arranged? Something like that. Or maybe like that. I don't know. Either way, we'll just put our thread on. Keeping our tying tail. And going across again. And you can go multiple times or have multiple threads if you want multiple threads to be hanging out. You could sew it once with black and then do it again with white or another color until you had multiple threads coming off. That would be an interesting look as well. I suppose we could do that on these. I'm not sure that I want to though on this one that has 4 buttons, because I think it would make the video way too long. That one has kind of a short thread, but it's okay. Whoops. Hopefully we're still up in shot. Maybe I need to put the bottom one on so we know. Whoops, I need to go through the front to back. By putting one on at each end, then you can space it out with the other ones in the middle. All right. This one has 1 hole. Like you would put it on like this or something, which is cool. And I don't have my punch handy, so I'm just going to make a needle hole. I'll try some of those dangling ones sometime too. Okay, go down here. I do have a little tiny punch, which is what I used for these, but you can poke them with the needle as well. So if you don't have a little punch, just use the needle. This paper is coming loose. Maybe the glue stick, oops, that I used didn't hold as well. But we'll just put that back down. Tie this one. this one down, loop it around anyway, I mean, go through, come on, go through the loop. Glue on my finger and the needle is not cooperating. Okay, got that one. Trim these off a bit. So that one's down there. And two more to do. So through here. I had to sit in the hospital one time with one of my kids for several days, and I grabbed a bunch of magazines and some scissors and glue stick. I just unthreaded my needle and some book pages, various things like that, and I just did some collaging masterboards and, sorry if you just heard my stomach, haven't had breakfast yet. Collage masterboards. I had some product packaging, so I made some journal cards and pockets and tucks, and I think I might have made the masterboard that I used to make these buttons while I was in there. And then I also went to the gift shop and looked to see what they had, and they had a package of origami paper and some other kind of paper that I could use, like for a journal or something. And then I also used product packaging from my meals and things, like the paper straw wrapper. Sometime I'll show you some of the things I made from there, and I'm gonna do a on the road journaling, and we can see what kind of things you can do when you find yourself in a situation where you can't be at home with your regular supplies, but you can still do some things. I came home with a lot of ephemera that I had at least started, if not finished. I think I was able to pack up a basic kit that allowed me to do some things. So when I had downtime, I was able to make something. Okay, so let's glue these on. So we'll put this one fairly close to the bottom. Do I want this? I know it's a heavier color, but maybe it would be better further away from the orange down here. So let's put it up at the top. Down just a little bit. I reversed the order so the blue and green were not right next to each other. Thought that would look a little better. And put this one about in the same place down below. And then these we can kind of just space out. So about there. When you do use book pages, you'll want to look at them to make sure you're not putting words on that you don't want in your project. And if you do have them on something, you could cover them up, like with a button or a sticker, or punched out something so they won't show. Okay, there we go. So we got these all assembled. Let's take our corner punch and we'll just give them a little punch. later I'll distress the edges. Maybe I'll do one so you can see how it looks. This just makes it a little nicer to get in and out of the pockets if you have them rounded at least a little bit or cut at a little bit of a notch angle. You can also do fancy corners. I'm just using a standard rounded corner for these. Okay, so like on this one, if I distressed the edges, this did not finish. Didn't round the corner properly. Let's try this one again. There, that looks better. So if you put a little bit on the front and the back, most of these I'll do afterwards, so you don't have to watch me doing this. It just kind of gives it a finished looking edge. Hides the white edges. So there we go. This is hashtag day 12 of the hashtag Play Your Hand journal cards, where we made 5 journal cards with buttons and business cards. Also added in a few other things like some scrapbook paper, newsprint for the back, punched out of scrapbook paper, map, origami paper, painted paper, used a little bit of the card that was on there, covered it with some painted paper, and this one has the 2 stickers, buttons I mean, added a little fussy cut and left part of the card on here. So you can see you can make all different kinds of things. This is a hand of 5 journal cards we've made again on day number 12 of hashtag Play Your Hand. Thanks for joining me today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and hopefully I can hear from you and know how you're enjoying or what else you would like to see. Take care. This is Peggy from the Pearl Forest.